This video contains spoilers. Have you ever faced a part of yourself you wish you could make just disappear? The side of you that's insecure and angry, the one you hope no one ever sees? In Persona, that hidden part doesn't stay buried. It takes form. It talks back. It fights. In the series, shadows are literally manifestations of the human psyche. The darkness within each person, born from everything we repress: shame, guilt, fear, and desire. They're not random enemies. They're you, the you you've been avoiding. In Persona 1, shadows are the manifestations of human subconscious fears and negative emotions. But they also act as a source of personas themselves. The game presents shadows as a natural duality. Every Persona user has a shadow counterpart, a reminder that power comes from confronting the hidden parts of the self, not escaping. In Persona 2, Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment, shadows become even more literal and dangerous. They take form from rumors, collective belief, and mass psychology. Meaning the human unconscious doesn't just create shadows. It can reshape reality itself. Characters confront shadow selves, but the games expand the idea by showing how society's anxieties can materialize into world-changing threats. In Persona 3, they represent humanity's collective unconscious, creatures born from despair, feeding on emotional turmoil. In Persona 4, shadows are deeply personal, distorted reflections of a person's true self that emerge from inside the mysterious midnight channel. When a person denies that truth, the shadow becomes hostile. And in Persona 5, shadows symbolize the corrupt desires of society. Individuals so consumed by greed and ego that their shadows rule over entire palaces, twisting reality itself. Each game gives the concept a new lens, but the core idea remains the same. You cannot run from what's inside of you. And the longer you try, the stronger it becomes. It's a gameplay mechanic rooted in philosophy. You fight your shadow, and when you accept it, truly acknowledge that darkness as a part of yourself, it transforms into your persona, a source of your strength. Because in Persona, enlightenment isn't about escaping your demons, it's about integrating them. This video is a journey into the philosophical and psychological meanings behind shadows, why they exist, what they represent, and what they say about us as human beings.
Let's get scratching.
Before we dive into the philosophy, let's unpack the mechanics. Not just how shadows function in gameplay, but what they symbolize on a deeper level. In every Persona game, your enemies are not demons from another realm, but fragments of the human mind. When you explore a dungeon, whether it's Tartarus, the TV world, or a palace, you're essentially exploring the unconscious. These realms are psychological landscapes. Each shadow, each environment is shaped by emotion. A shadow's form, grotesque, exaggerated, is a visual metaphor of distortion. For example, in Persona 4, Yukiko's dungeon takes form of a castle because she feels trapped by the expectations of femininity and tradition. Kanji's dungeon is a steamy bathhouse, representing his confusion and discomfort about his identity. And Rize's is a strip club, symbolizing the objectification she endures as an idol. These aren't just random stylistic choices, they're expressions of Jungian psychology, brought to life through level design. When a character sees their shadow, they're being confronted by the truth they suppress. Throughout the entirety of Persona 4, you only hear,
"You're not me!"
There's no way in hell that you're me!
That ain't me.
It's a critical moment, because in Jung's philosophy, rejecting the shadow creates inner chaos. The more you suppress it, the more powerful and destructive it becomes. And that's why every shadow in Persona becomes violent. It represents self-demanding acknowledgement, and the only path to peace is acceptance. When a character finally accepts their shadow, the monster dissolves and transforms into a persona, a literal manifestation of self-understanding. This one act, turning darkness into strength, captures the essence of Jung's quote: "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." To truly understand shadows, we have to go back, surprisingly not to Tokyo, but to Switzerland. In the early 20th century, psychologist Carl Jung developed the concept of the shadow self, the part of the unconscious that holds everything we reject about ourselves. It's not inherently evil, it's just hidden. The anger you suppress, the vulnerability you deny, the desires you won't admit. According to Jung, ignoring the shadow only gives it power. The Persona games take this theory and make it tangible. Even with the title, Persona, comes from Jung's idea of the mask, the identity we present to the world. The persona is who you pretend to be. The shadow is who you are underneath. Every dungeon, every boss fight, every awakening moment is a metaphor for inner confrontation. Even the Velvet Room, where you fuse personas, isn't just a gameplay hub. It's the mind's workshop, a space to integrate many sides of the self. Denial is the heartbeat in every Persona story. In Persona 4, when Rize, Kanji, and Yukiko first see their shadows, they all do the same goddamn thing. They deny them. That denial, that refusal to acknowledge their inner truth, is what makes their shadow monstrous. When Yosuke's shadow mocks his false self-importance, exposing how he feels trapped in a small town he secretly looks down upon, Yukiko's shadow screams to escape her cage of expectation. Kanji's flamboyant shadow embodies fear of being misunderstood. Rize's shadow reveals her loss of identity beneath layers of performance. Even
Naoto.
Shadow exposes how she internalized the idea that her gender evaluates her talent. Each of these moments dramatizes a fundamental truth. When you hide from yourself, you create internal monsters. And it's not just individuals. In Persona 3, denial becomes cosmic. Shadows are the embodiment of humanity's collective refusal to face death. Even in Persona 5, palaces are physical manifestations of corruption created by people who have rewritten morality just to justify their power. When people refuse to confront the truth, the world itself bends under the weight of illusion. Persona teaches that denial isn't passive, it's destructive. Because the more you deny your pain, the more it controls you. The more you run from the truth, the more power it gains. There's something deeply poetic about how shadows turn into personas once accepted. Because it's not a battle between good or evil, it's reconciliation. When you accept your shadow, it doesn't vanish. It becomes your ally, your greatest strength. Jung called this individuation, the binding of all aspects of the self, both light and dark, into a unified whole. That's exactly what happens when a persona is born. In Persona 3, characters awaken by confronting morality. Aegis learns humanity, not through logic, but from emotion, from acceptance. In Persona 4, characters finally stop fucking saying that it's not them. In Persona 5, phantom thieves steal hearts, forcing others to see the truths they ignored. Even in story, acceptance is not weakness, it's courage. Because it takes more than bravery to look inward than to swing a sword. Persona's message is timeless. You can't become your true self by rejecting who you've been. You can only transform by understanding. Beyond personal psychology, Persona explores collective philosophy, how entire societies create shadows. In Persona 5, every palace represents a form of societal corruption. Kamoshida's Kingdom of Ego, Madarame's Museum of Exploitation. Each is a world warped by unchecked delusion. In Persona 5 Royale, Dr. Maruki's Utopia takes this into the extreme. A perfect world built from denial, where pain doesn't exist. It's tempting, but false, because without suffering, there can be no growth. Comfort without truth is just another mask. Society itself has a shadow, a reflection of everything we refuse to confront. Injustice, arrogance, and just like individuals, that shadow must be faced, not hidden. If Persona teaches us anything, is that every person carries their own velvet room, that mysterious space between consciousness and unconsciousness, between who you are and who you're becoming. Your velvet room might not have blue walls and a nigga with a long nose, but it exists in every quiet moment of honesty, in every realization you can no longer avoid. What shadow are you refusing to face? Maybe it's regret. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe it's something you thought you buried years ago. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting your shadow and you start understanding it. So here's your invitation. Next time you feel anger, jealousy, or fear, don't push it away. Ask yourself what it's trying to tell you. That is the first step of shadow work. It's the same journey every Persona character takes. Because sometimes enlightenment doesn't come from defeating your darkness, but from shaking its hand. If this video made you reflect on your own hidden self, hit that subscribe button. But yeah, and if you want to keep exploring the philosophy of games, hit that bell. I'm gonna be here posting videos. So thank you for watching. I guess I'll see y'all next week. Peace.